This episode of The Patch is sponsored by Hulu Plus. Hulu Plus lets you binge on thousands of hit shows anytime, anywhere on your TV, PC, smartphone, or tablet. Support this podcast and get an extended free trial of Hulu Plus when you go to huluplus.com/patch. That's huluplus.com/patch.
This episode of The Patch is brought to you by Blue Apron. Blue Apron sends gourmet recipes and all the fresh ingredients you need to make them right to your door. To see what's on the menu this week, visit blueapron.com. Our listeners get their first 2 meals free. Just go to blueapron.com/thepatch. That's blueapron.com/thepatch.
Hey, it's The Patch. Welcome. We are once again Gusless, so today we have
Burnie,
Ashley,
Ryan, and the spirit of Gus, which is always with us.
I think I saw the control room there for a very brief second. Hello, control room.
Wait, hi, control room.
Yay. Spirit of Gus presides.
So
Yeah.
what is
Resides.
Gus? Should we explain where Gus is, that he's gone?
He's not gone anywhere. He's at home.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Is he on vacation? What's he doing?
He's on vacation.
It's a staycation, all right?
At least go somewhere.
No.
No?
Come on.
It's Gus. Yeah,
where
alright.
does Gus want to go? He wants to go home. He is in his ideal place.
He's standing on his own lawn going, oh my.
Squirrel land.
Except
Wait, does he have a
except
lawn?
remember, no, he sold his lawn.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
He's lawnless.
That's true.
He's been delawned.
He's on his community shared lawn going, partially mine. Partially
Community
mine.
ownership. Don't have to do lawn maintenance.
Homeowners Association. Hey, so it's a semi kind of lame week for...
Hugely lame,
Yeah.
really. It's
Well, one big development that took place.
Yeah, but
couple kind of big
I
developments.
mean, it's been 7 days since you unleashed the great evil upon the world with your dire predictions of how Microsoft would completely monetize everything Minecraft related. And
Which, to be fair, I don't think they'll do.
I actually did. So we're talking about that Microsoft has officially now is set to acquire Mojang, i.e. Minecraft,
Right.
for $2.5 billion. And and Notch is not going with it. That's I think one of the big parts of that story. So $2.5 billion, it's such a weird range, but it gets up in that territory of how much basically Disney paid for Marvel and
How much
for
did they pay
Lucasfilm.
for Marvel?
They paid $4 billion. So I think one was 4.1 and one was 4.2.
Wow.
So it's like right about 50%. But when you're in that 2 to 4 billion range, I don't know.
What's $1 billion or $2 here and there?
It's also a company that's 5 years old.
like
And
the
so-
GDP of
Yeah.
Lithuania?
Yeah, that's, if anything, that's more impressive. 5 years, nothing to $2.5 billion.
Yeah. And we talked about it last week, and I felt that there's definitely a lot of value left. I was talking about the 2 billion range, but what's another 500 million between friends?
It's not going anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
that property is going to stick around for a long time. They've already said that they're going to, or Microsoft has already said that they're not going to drop support for other consoles.
Yep.
Right.
So it's going to stay multi-platform.
In fact, they just released a PS3 update so that people can transfer their worlds to PS4. I thought that was in their
great.
launch, but I just saw a
Via
tweet from
MasterCard.
4J Studios that they're like, oh, we're just releasing this update so you can transfer your worlds. So I guess it wasn't.
Can you envision a scenario at all in which Sony would say, we don't want Minecraft now? Like that it's a Microsoft game that we don't want it on our...
No.
I couldn't envision that either.
I just think that it's a nice trade-off. So we've had Microsoft essentially paying Sony for every Xbox One sold because they have to license the Blu-ray drive. And now Sony is going to be paying Microsoft money for every copy of Minecraft sold. Who knows? Maybe they'll even out.
You think so? Like they'll do a fair trade?
I have no idea what the cost is on each of those, but I like to think that eventually they just go,
Just call it even.
Yeah.
Like, you guys can just have it.
yeah.
So do you guys think that Microsoft will keep that as... You said that Microsoft said they were going to still make it available for other platforms.
Multi-platform.
I actually only read that from the departing Mojang team. Or Mojang.
yeah.
Phil Spencer did
Yes.
say.
So Microsoft explicitly said that.
Yes.
Okay, I just hadn't read that yet.
Yeah, they
You
did
guys can keep
explicitly
your
say
Minecrafts.
it. It's on a. He made a post on the Xbox website, and then they also made a video about it. And yeah, so they're gonna keep it available, continue updating it, all that stuff. I think they understand that part of the value in Minecraft is that it is so widely available. It's ubiquitous.
Right.
And it's hard to be ubiquitous if they take it away from platforms that it's already on.
I actually did an interview today for a newspaper. They were calling to ask like what they thought from a content usage standpoint. Like how does the Microsoft acquisition affect like people who obviously Minecraft is one of the most popular titles to use for Let's Plays and video game channels on YouTube.
Really? What's the Let's Play?
But
you can probably find channels for that somewhere on the internet.
And so it talks like,
Sounds like
you know,
work.
I mean, we talked a little bit about them, but basically what I was saying is that, you know, this is a company who has a track record of being very supportive in that. I mean, this company is based in, you know, them making a very early decision in that process of saying, okay, you know, we have a huge franchise in Halo and you guys are doing something new and different with it. Let's kind of see where this goes. And, you know, taking an innovative approach to what was an innovative show at the time, and it worked out pretty well. So, you know, I think from my own personal experience, it's hard for me to be pessimistic about anything that they would do, but it is a big property, you know, and nobody understands the value of big IP as well, or not, at least not better than Microsoft does. They get it.
Yeah, well, and I mean, Microsoft has previously come out and said we're fully in support of people making gameplay videos of, you know, of our games and all that sort of stuff. And let's also not forget that they did their own Machinima series, or they at least promoted a Machinima series done in Minecraft called Seedlings.
Yeah,
oh, right.
Did you ever see that? It was Seedlings, and it was on the dashboard for the 360 for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious
also on
about
their
it because
YouTube
I was like,
channel, maybe? I'm not sure.
there is. You can find it. You can look up the episodes of Seedlings. I think it has like 500,000 views on their YouTube channel, but that was solid on the dashboard for a while. And you know, one of the things I said to the person I was talking to today is that even if content providers can't monetize, that doesn't mean the content's not being monetized. It is being monetized by the platforms that put it up. What the content creators do is they have a share of that monetization, but it doesn't mean the monetization goes away. You know,
Right.
it still exists. So it's a different world. And you know, Mojang obviously set the standard for, you know, an open platform. In a lot of ways, you could argue that it was a little bit too open because some people took advantage of it. Like even towards the tail end there, Mojang was in the process of like talking to people who were running paid for servers, you know, to pay to play servers.
Well, and actually that whole thing in June where they changed the end user license agreement and said, no, you can't charge for items in the game. You can charge for access to the server, but you can't charge for little bits of the game. It's either all or nothing.
Right.
The fan outrage from that is part of the reason that Notch decided to sell.
I would imagine so. I would imagine.
He came right out and said that, you know, that was one of the final straws, because around that same time he also watched a kind of a mini documentary that was talking about Phil Fish and how when people talk about Phil Fish, they're not talking about Phil Fish, they're talking about the concept of Phil Fish.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite an interesting video, actually.
I think we actually talked about it on one of the podcasts before.
Yeah.
Maybe a patch. This is Phil Fish? Is
Yes.
that yeah.
Yes, and you know, it's a cool video. It makes a lot of really good points where I go, yeah. Like they're not talking about, you know, Notch the individual, because almost nobody knows him. They're talking about Notch the concept of the indie developer who became this, and
He
think
even
of him
said
as a
his
concept.
departure letter, essentially, that he had become a symbol, and he doesn't want to be a symbol. It's
Yeah.
like not what he's in it for.
Right,
And-
which was specifically like that was in reference to that video. You know, and he'd pointed to that like in the middle of all that outrage, and he was feeling really disconnected from the fans, and like he was taking all of this blame, even though he'd actually had nothing to do with it and hasn't had a lot to do with Minecraft in a very long time. And you know, then he saw that and, you know, sort of had a moment of clarity for him that he just wanted out.
Yeah, you know, and we've talked a lot recently. It's like last week we talked about Gamergate a little bit, about just like the negativity online. It was a subject of one of the game times I did in Fez, which was Phil Fish's game. I did it with Ben. You know, it's one of those things, it's not new. Like one of the articles that I read about the, you know, Notch's departure blog, essentially, the reporter went back and I guess they weren't very steeped in gaming, so they compared it to comments that George Lucas made before he sold Lucasfilm to Disney, and talking about like, yeah, I really enjoyed this franchise a lot and had a great time with it up until the internet, and then I became a jerk. Like basically is what he's saying. And it's like, these are not new concepts. I mean, one of the first bits of slang that was ever associated with the internet was trolls. I mean, we named that right away. That was something, I never heard the word troll in real life, you know, or anything
No,
like that.
me neither.
It just meant somebody who's an asshole online. So these people exist. And to play total devil's advocate, you know, Notch has engaged in some of that himself. He's a very opinionated guy. He's been on Twitter. He pulled support for Minecraft from Oculus when they sold to Facebook.
Yep.
That was just, 3 months ago?
But again, see, as far as he's concerned, he's an opinionated individual doing that.
Right.
Not a company CEO.
Not the CEO
He wants to
of
be a
Mojang.
guy who can do that and have that be
That was
just
even
something
in
that
his
everyone
letter.
else does.
Yeah, he's like, I want to be able to say what I want on Twitter. Like, okay, yeah, you
know,
have that
whereas
right as long as you're not.
He doesn't want to.
who
He
you
doesn't want to
are.
represent something. He wants his own opinions, and I get that.
Right, I get that as well, but you know, playing devil's advocate again here is those opinions, when you put them out there, they come with a reaction. You know what I mean? And these things, when you put stuff out there, you're going to get a reaction to it.
How long do you think it takes to disappear from the public eye? So at this point now,
Fast.
He's still Notch.
So fast.
For another, at least I'd say year, he's still Notch.
Yes.
Like they're gonna say, oh, you know, former CEO Notch. He'll still be under that kind of scrutiny.
Well, and keep in mind that he'll his decision to sell his amazingly successful company and product and go off to be essentially a hermit that'll be pulled up in like case studies and stories for years and years and years. Like, and let's not forget the time that people chased Notch away from his empire. Like, that'll be a thing that will come up.
Do you think really?
I think the
at
internet
end of
has
this-
such a short memory. It's just
it does. It
The internet
absolutely does.
if it's not constantly refreshed, the internet just forgets about it. Yeah.
Do you think Notch approached, buyers, or that buyers came to Notch? I mean,
think
they were always there, right?
From what I've heard, and it's pure speculation, that Notch
speculation, yeah.
specifically approached Microsoft because he enjoyed the process of working with Microsoft on getting Minecraft on the Xbox and Xbox One.
And also possibly because they have a lot of money.
Yeah, like I said, there's only so many people you can shop that to. Like, hey, I want to sell this for $2.5 billion. The Sheik of something and Microsoft.
Listen, I mean, it's one of those things too. It's like we were looking yesterday. The market cap for Microsoft is something like 460 billion or 360 billion.
That's not even a number anymore. That's like a concept.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an abstract.
You're absolutely right. And
That's not money anymore.
No,
a $2.5
that's a country.
billion purchase represents about a 0.5% shift in their stock.
Not only
price.
that, but you were saying their stock changed.
Yes.
And they've already paid the purchase off, essentially.
Yeah, they had like a 1% increase in the price of their stock, which essentially pays for the Mojang acquisition in one day.
And they could buy another Mojang if anyone's interested.
Hey, look.
If you're out there want to start a company for a couple billion of dollars, we know a software
Make
company
a
who's
very popular
interested.
web series in that game. Great marketing for it. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. You can speculate all you want. This is a situation where time will tell. We will see exactly how this all shakes out.
Yeah, Microsoft actually has a lot of opportunities to learn from what Mojang's done well here, from their mod support, the texture packs, and all that stuff that people have made over years and years and years. Microsoft tends to exist in sort of that walled garden area. The console version certainly does, where you pay microtransactions for new texture packs and that sort of stuff. But the PC version, this lead version, has been like the Wild West, and it's worked out really well. Arguably, the game wouldn't have done as well without all of those creations. And so they have the opportunity to learn from that and maybe add a lot of that stuff into the console version, which, by the way, I think is suddenly going to catch up dramatically.
It'll also probably be rewritten, I think.
You
Probably
think so?
off
They're
of
going to
Java?
take it back?
I think so.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it would be nice if it was not running off Java.
Right.
That's the biggest performance issue it has now. However, that's also, I think, largely what's contributed to its flexibility, its ability to be picked up and modded by so many people.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to make a PC game completely non-moddable, but they could certainly make it harder if they chose to. But
I will say, too, for naysayers, that if you're still living in the guise of the evil Microsoft corporation, like Microsoft equals evil, you're a decade out of touch. You know what I mean? It's
there's lots of people that are way more evil.
right. I mean, there's tons of evil corporations that are out there.
Let's talk oil spills.
Why cherry pick? There's evil everywhere.
Yeah.
Microsoft's just a little one.
Well, it always bugged the shit out of me that Bill Gates always had this reputation of being the evil guy, and Steve Jobs was like this technological saint. You know what I mean? When Bill Gates is spending 75% of his wealth over the course of like 5 years to cure malaria, and now Ebola, donated an extreme amount of money to Ebola. And I know Bill Gates is not synonymous with Microsoft anymore, but that's where that whole era, that image comes from, that Microsoft is this massive evil corporation.
Well, they were both super cutthroat people. I mean, they were willing to buy, borrow, or steal anything they needed to get where they needed to be. In fact, poor Xerox is the one that really was the brunt of most of that.
You read that article, huh?
Well, that's
Yeah,
just
a lot
old
of stuff
news.
took place in Xerox Labs that benefited a lot of people.
I think the
And
mouse, the GUI,
Xerox,
right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the
Token ring
scroll wheel?
network?
Wasn't
Ethernet?
the initial iPod wheel that was developed? Was that a Xerox?
Was that
thing?
Xerox too?
There
it
was,
wouldn't surprise
there
me.
was that was from a totally unrelated company,
kind of touch
and then
control.
like they bought it and became the
Oh,
iPod.
If they bought
thing.
it, that was a real step up. Because
Well,
in the old days, it was just
okay.
like, hey, that's a cool idea you got there. It'd be a shame if that just showed up in the wild.
It'd be
I
awful.
don't know.
All right. Well,
Be awful.
somehow acquired it anyway.
Somehow acquired it.
But we'll see. It's like, since we're on the topic of like Ethernet and things that Xerox Labs invented, I still to this day have this goddamn problem with NAT. How did they go from the Xbox Live on the 360 to Xbox Live on the One, and this NAT is still an issue? It's like, if I have 2 Xboxes in my house, so if we
3.
go from one to the other, well, now we have a third one that we borrowed. It's kind of hobbled there. We're playing Destiny and Fire Teams in the house, and I can get one of them okay, and then the other 2 are just like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, because remember the solution's always been like, oh, you have just this one that needs to go on. Great, put it on the DMZ. This one machine can do whatever it wants.
Yep.
I don't know how this problem actually lasted beyond multi-console households. What if you have a PlayStation and an Xbox? A lot of people do.
You're probably not running them at the same time, though. I
So
mean,
they
you
pull
might
the same
be.
IP?
So what, you need to
It's
like
not necessarily the same
change
IP.
the Ethernet cable?
Well,
I mean, what if they're running on
possibly.
Wi-Fi? Then you've got problems.
It's really
'cause-
easy to get one console through that.
That's what we're saying.
It's multiple kinds. We have the same problem here when we're trying to do it out of this building. But
And you are actually running a lot these days. You're running all your consoles in low power mode. Typically, you are.
that's true. They're all just kind of idling, which
Right.
the power studies on those are kind of frightening, like how much it's actually sucking out of your power bill.
Right, you mean when they say power saving?
Yeah, well, it's just, it sounds so nice, right?
That's right. It is a weird way to say it's now using power all the time.
It's actively, constantly consuming power. It's power costing is what it's doing.
Look
Where
how
it's
much I saved
off.
on power by running my console
You're
24 hours a day.
I mean, with the Xbox, you're even telling it, hey, turn off. And it's like, you probably didn't mean that, right?
Like, wink.
You know,
Got it.
it's- I'm just going to be here. Like, I'm not going to go away. I'll just be right here in case you need me.
It is true. It's like it wouldn't be able to hear you if it was really off. It's like, Xbox, are you on? No.
Are you really off?
Xbox, stop
Maybe.
listening. No.
It's like having a conversation with my son. Are you sure? I'm not sure.
Speaking of which, does Destiny have any support for Kinect in any way?
I don't think so.
Not to my knowledge.
No.
Does it even support voice? Like, I
Wasn't
don't think
that-
you can talk.
Wasn't that a
we-
mandate for all
we were
Xbox One games that
we
they
were using it over the weekend, and we were using Kinect for the voice. In fact,
Okay.
had to go through a lot of effort to figure out how to mute it.
Well, that's been
Yeah.
a big issue right now because they finally just released raids.
Which have already been beaten, but it took 10 hours.
It
And
seems like a nightmare.
the six-man
does.
team
We just tried
died.
it.
Died, what
Did
was
you?
it, 1,600 times?
1,600 times. 1,600 deaths.
Over 10 hours to complete the
It was a
raid.
level 26 raid, and I think a few of them were 28.
See how that breaks down.
I think the lowest they had may have
The
been
lowest was
25.
26.
Was 26? Okay.
1,600 deaths over 10 hours, so you're talking 160 deaths an hour. You're talking an average of 2.6 deaths a minute.
I believe it. I honestly believe it.
That's like
okay, we
that's
just
like the
attempted
game
it.
is spawn killing you, basically.
It pretty much does. So, Destiny has, man. Me and
Okay,
Destiny,
wow. It seems like
that
Ryan
room
has
in
thoughts.
Destiny is having a bad time of it. Okay.
You're all in the process where you guys have a weird thing where you're in a deadline where you
Sorta.
decided this day we're going to be doing raids for Let's Plays. And that may get to get up to level 26.
That
which
does
when you're at
absolutely
level-
make it worse.
When you're at level 18, seems like a breeze. And then you get to level 20 and you're like hunting for armor with light in it.
Pretty much. And-
Bernie, Twitter would like to thank you for turning everyone's Xbox on.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I just got you again.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, this is the thing about Destiny. So, again, just breezing past the point that all the single player content is people telling you how they're not going to tell you things, because that occurs not once but twice.
We got to that point of the story and we laughed because of what
It
you
was
said.
so
Yeah.
accurate.
Well, and I didn't even remember it because I wasn't playing it with headphones the time before. But when you first talk, your first cutscene, when you talk to the speaker, you're like, "Hey, what's going on? What's with the world? Why is it like this?" And he's like, "Well, I could tell you about this, or I could tell you about this, or I could tell you about this." Anyway, that's the world.
Go hang out.
Why?
Got any engrams on you, buddy? Got any motes of light?
But so no, you get to 20 finally, and you're like, "Oh, great, I finished the story. Good for me."
Yeah.
And then it's just a constant grind trying to get something to drop. There's nothing you can do. There's not a single thing you can do that will guarantee, like, even somebody in your party a chance of getting a drop.
By the way, everything that you just said would be completely forgiven if they just called the game what it is, an MMO.
No, even MMOs. Like, if you're like, okay, we're gonna do this high level raid, somebody is gonna get something. It may not even be something they need, but it's gonna be at least like a certain tier of equipment. Destiny's like, no, absolutely not. You may get something, maybe you won't.
Congratulations
If a raid,
after
have you finished the raid though?
Did we finish
What?
the raid?
Really? You just asked
All
these
right.
guys if they finished the raid.
Here's the thing.
But he's
The
saying that
raid
at the end of the
starts,
raid
all
you
right?
should get something.
Let me paint you a picture. Well, no, we've done strikes though, like really hard strikes.
So you're
Let me paint you a
equating
picture of the raid
strikes to
though.
raids, okay.
Well, I mean that's they put it up there like here's a daily or a weekly. Like that should be a thing. They even
Sure.
say rewards on there like you get gear. Nothing. You will get nothing. Don't even try.
It's an MMO.
Especially you get to
It's
the
an MMO.
end and
It's
it
an
does a little spinny thing where it's like, hey, you're gonna get something. No, you don't get anything. But anyway, yeah, the raid is great. You start off and we didn't make it past I think 5-minute walk into it.
What was
The
your average
first
death
thing-
per minute?
You're like the
I don't
podcast crew when we play Left 4 Dead on realism.
It is that hard.
It's just like, how short a distance can we go before we all die?
So I mean, everybody's been grinding to get enough equipment, and what we
Which would
ended
make
up
you
with,
good at the game.
Yeah, this is part of my ire with the game is having had to have done that. But so we end up with Ray's 26, Gavin and I are 25, and then I think Michael and Jeff were 24, and Jack just eked in at 23. That's the minimum you can be.
Jack has his boots problem where he can't.
He was
get
now
boots.
he's got nothing but boots since he got the boots. And there's still no legendary. Like the man has not seen a legendary drop in
those-
2
are
days
those
of
the blue
constant
ones?
playing.
Those the blue ones?
That's the purple ones.
Wait,
And exotics
what?
are orange.
Yeah.
Okay, see, I'm level 16. I'm still really happy about getting a blue thing. So
No, just wait. Yeah, the blue thing wears thin real fast.
We
Really?
watched a trailer for Destiny. We watched the live action trailer, and I'm not sure if it was part of that or one we saw followed up, where in the trailer they open a loot chest and like 4 blue
yeah, that
engrams
was-
pop out. We're like, bullshit.
Yeah.
no, that was definitely just that was not the live action thing, but that was a trailer or something right after. And we were like, "Where's that loot chest? I want to go there."
But it's, I love too the culture that's popping up around it. Like on Twitter, people have made parody accounts for the Cryptarch. Is that how you say anything?
The
Cryptarch.
Cryptarch.
Yeah, and it's just really great. It's just like how stingy this fucking guy is.
Oh, he's a prick.
Yeah.
He's a right prick. All right, hang on. I'm going to read this. I'm going to cool down
Sure.
a little bit.
You're gonna no,
Sorbet.
you're
We'll
Let's pal.
re-engage. We'll re-engage. Okay.
got it.
I may even be able to complete words this time. We'll find out.
Uh-oh. Don't jinx yourself.
The greatest time in TV is the fall. Your favorite TV shows are coming back with new episodes and new shows are premiering. And Hulu Plus is making it the best fall ever. That's the best one ever. I got it. No, we're good. I didn't stumble over a word. It's still continuing. Right now, Hulu Plus has all the current season episodes of your favorite shows like Sleepy Hollow, Bob's Burgers, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If you're not caught up on your shows, catch up now on Hulu Plus. You've probably watched Hulu on your computer. Hulu Plus is so much more. Hulu Plus lets you watch every episode of shows like South Park, Family Guy, and more. And Hulu Plus works on your computer, smart TV, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox, Wii, PlayStation, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and pretty much any streaming device that you already own. For only $7.99 a month, watch your fall shows anytime, anywhere. But I'm getting the hookup for my. I forgot that I was part of this. But not you guys. I'm getting the hookup for my subscribers. And you get a 2-week free trial when you go to huluplus.com/patch. 2 weeks is better than one. Make sure you go to huluplus.com/patch so you can get your extra free week and they know that we sent you. We, all of a sudden. Yeah, plurality. It helps support us and lets us keep making videos and gets you a better deal. One more time, that's huluplus.com/patch for your 2-week free trial. Thanks.
Great job. So what is Sleepy Hollow? Is this a
It's
TV show?
yeah, it's a TV show.
It's like a modern update of obviously the Headless Horseman.
Really?
Yeah,
Modern
no,
update of it.
Yeah, no, he's
There's
been
a
like
very short
resurrected to the
story.
future.
the whole
Okay.
Yeah, no, he's in the future now. He's in modern times.
the whole like retelling storybook like story tales. Fairy tales,
Story
something
tales.
storybook tales, storybook fairy
Story
tales.
tales.
As TV shows,
Tales
it's
and
like
tales
a
of
whole new thing.
stories.
You've got Grimm,
Yeah.
you got Sleepy Hollow, you've got Once Upon a Time, all of which I watched. By the way, I'm like a season behind on all of them, but I totally watched them.
Well, now you can go to huluplus.com/patch and watch every season, every episode.
Never
Thanks,
heard.
Ryan.
I will check out Sleepy Hollow because I didn't even know that was a thing.
It's it's a thing.
I heard a really interesting stat and
that?
stuff like
All
Hulu
right.
Plus that contributes to it. Won't stay on this topic very long. 34% of millennials do not watch any television.
Good
Watch
for them.
Zero television.
Get out there and live.
they watch.
I don't think that's what they're doing.
They watch.
I think they're watching iPads.
To be clear, they watch TV shows, but they do not watch them on the television
They
in
don't
the
watch them
traditional
via
manner.
TV.
Good for them. Less radiation, right? No.
There you go. Right.
No,
Oh,
'cause
it's closer to your face.
Instead, they're all just sleeping with iPads.
We're gonna finally solve that liquid crystal shortage we've been running into because they won't be buying TVs. Yeah, the rise of smartphones and we don't often talk about it like this, but we were looking forward to like what are some big releases that are coming out. What are you looking forward to?
As far as TV shows?
No, for video games.
Oh,
Back on
Shadow of
topic
Mordor
here.
is coming up pretty soon.
Shadow of Mordor looks so good.
September
It does.
30th.
I think the crazy thing with Destiny is how they're going to be competing with their own. Bungie's going to be competing with their own work, essentially remastered in just
That's true.
a few weeks. It seems like.
And
Which would also explain why they're focusing on PlayStation so heavily, because that's the area where they will not be competing.
Yeah,
they're-
makes sense. Makes sense. The PlayStation owners will not have access to the Master Chief Collection.
I just heard somewhere now that I'm going to have trouble backing this up, but maybe you guys have heard about it. So they're adding a little bit of stuff into Halo 2 to kind of segue for Halo 5.
Like an ending? Sorry, too soon. Too soon.
Someone in Achievement Hunter made that exact same joke when
Wait,
that
are you
news
saying
came up.
it's too soon for a joke about Halo 2?
Yeah, well, listen, too soon because I still have friends that worked on it. Yeah, I
they're-
think if anything needed maybe a little touch up, I would maybe say that it would be Halo 2. But you know what? The work they did on the Halo anniversary with some of the terminals and some of the extra stuff they added in, everybody loved that.
That's what I heard. Is
Yeah, I
there was
think
going to be
that's what
some
they're using.
additional terminals to help kind of provide more segue. I don't know why you would segue from 2 into 5, but
Oh, I think they might be doing some stuff with the live action show they're doing as well with what's his name, Locke.
oh yeah, how's that doing?
Oh, it's not
Anybody?
started yet.
No?
It comes
Okay.
out. It comes out in
Somebody
November.
gonna release it someday? Yeah.
Yeah, it comes out. It's going to be there with the Master Chief Collection. But I think they're doing a lot to try and tie all of that stuff together, leading into 5.
I still haven't seen Halo running at 60 frames per second, but I hear that it's incredible.
You're over the 60 frame a second thing, right?
Totally over it. I'm now
Well,
part
how do you
of
know?
the
What have
future.
you been running?
I'm having trouble just existing at this normal frame rate of
Well,
real life.
what have you been running at 60 frames?
Whatever's just recently come out. Destiny is 60 frames, isn't it? Oh, it's not?
I don't think so.
What-
There was a patch that was supposed to bump it to 60. I don't know if it's happened yet.
For Last of Us, I had to
That
lock
might be
it down at
misinformation.
30 when it first came out, and then after a while, I'm playing multiplayer. I just turned it off.
So you never played a PC game, a first-person shooter?
something about it bothered me. What's up?
Oh my God, we all need to be really, really jealous of this guy on Twitter. Andy Ford, he says he just got a chest with 3 or 4 blue engrams on a moon patrol. They do exist.
Son of a bitch. Tell us where it is.
Yeah,
Send it to
really.
us.
Good. That needs to be on the internet immediately.
Yeah, Pixar didn't
Who
happen.
are you?
But we were talking about releases that are coming out, and I'm excited about Shadow of Mordor. I'm excited about Assassin's Creed Unity. Oddly enough, I can't shake how excited I am for Unity. And it's like,
Why
There's
would
some
you wanna
weird
shake that?
There's
'Cause
some
I feel like
weird
I've-
stuff going on with Unity, man.
I got this icky desire to play a video game on me.
well, no, it's like I walked into E3 not expecting to be excited about the 6th Assassin's Creed game, but then I saw it. And it's like I'm as excited about that as I am about anything else. And but this week, nobody often talks about it this way, but there's a major console release happening this week because there's new iPhones that are shipping this week, and that's a huge gaming platform.
Yeah.
And we don't often consider when we talk about gaming platforms.
Literally
In fact,
a huge gaming platform
the-
now. Isn't it like this big?
That's the one that I'm going to get so that I can possibly play Sid Meier's Pirates on it. I bought Sid Meier's Pirates because I was like, this great game, love it, amazing. I played it on PC years ago. It's out on iOS. Totally going to play it. I have little tiny iPhone going.
Well, what are you gonna? Where
So
are you gonna put
I
it?
immediately gave up.
Are you just gonna get like a lanyard for it? I mean, how do you carry this thing around
I'm a
in your
girl.
life?
I have a handbag.
Yeah, that's like a black hole.
And if I do put it in my back pocket for I need to put it here for a second, it'll fit.
Will
It's
it?
not going to stay there for long, but it'll fit.
It's like one
We did because
standard
we
butt
tested.
pocket wide.
Yeah, we tested it with the 3DS. The XL
3DS
is I think about
XL.
the same size.
Yeah, so it's the same like form factor, but not the same thickness.
Uh-huh.
Like essentially, from what I understand, the iPhone 6 will be about the thickness of just the lid of it, the screen part
Wow,
of it.
okay.
And so I have Cole trying to- trying to get
7.2
one.
millimeters or something.
Yeah, so for reference, the iPhone 6 Plus.
This has
I
got
think is what they're
fingerprints
calling
all over it, Cole. What
That's
is
about how
wrong
big
with
the new
you?
iPhone
Someone's
is
gonna
be.
zoom in and they're gonna take your
As-
identity.
In
And you're gonna
comparison
feel
to the
ashamed.
iPhone, which is right here.
That's huge.
Yeah, so it's a lot bigger device. But
That's
it
like
does,
do you remember the Palm Tops? Like way back in the early days of computers, they were like,
Yeah.
oh, we're gonna create this tiny computer and it's gonna be this size. This is exactly
And
that
they had the
size.
little
Yeah.
teeny tiny keyboards.
Yes, and it had a tiny keyboard that you couldn't touch because your fingers are just large and oafish.
Yeah, and I remember the Palm itself. Remember that device where you had to learn your own
Yes,
scripting language
that was
to
one of
write,
them.
To write in the thing. But yeah, so it's it's a big gaming platform, but it's like, yeah, we don't really talk about it like that. What catches people's eyes more are stories like the U2 being pushed out to all the iPhones, whether you wanted it or not, the new U2 album.
Yeah.
You got a bug in your drink.
That's fine, it's protein.
He didn't drink too much.
No, he's gone now.
One time we went to dinner in New Zealand when we were down there, and she was drinking out of a jug of wine, and we realized it was candlelit, nice little place.
Whoa. You were drinking out of a jug of
No,
wine.
okay, first of all, it wasn't wine. It was like one of those
Straight from the decanter?
It was one of those like
She's
warm
not drinking from
cocktails.
the jug like a hillbilly.
Okay.
She played the banjo for
Just
20
make
minutes.
sure we
Well,
clarify that.
I'm glad we're allowed to dinner.
Of course, we're saying that, but we did discover that there were bugs like in it. And she was like, I don't care.
I don't know. I didn't know. Maybe New Zealand just operated that way.
The waiter
Straight
was
from the
mortified.
decanter.
I think it's because I ordered one of those hot cocktails that are, it's got like whiskey and probably like hot tea and lemon and all that sort of stuff. Really homey. And I have to assume that no one had ordered one for a while, and that whatever they normally served them in had time to accumulate a family.
Yeah.
A
And,
healthy
they were-
layer of carcass.
Healthy layer
No,
of
but
carcasses.
this was on the ring of the ring.
They replaced it. They were very nice about it. I felt bad that they felt so bad, frankly.
So how much of it did you drink before realizing this?
Well, see,
2
I
pounds.
poured it into little teacups, and then I was just like, oh, I got something in my drink.
Wait a minute. Okay. So you've gone from drinking straight from the decanter to now you're pouring
No,
wine
I
into
had
a
a whole.
teacup.
All the
A
flies were
little
in the
teacup.
decanter
Okay. But why a little teacup?
because that's what you sip a
This
hot
is a
cocktail out
fancy
of.
restaurant.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's got the whole thing. The question is, how do we get from the iPhone 6 discussion to this somehow?
Well, there's that too.
It's
But
Bernie's fault.
Bug in the drink, but yeah, it's like I will probably get an
Let's talk
iPhone
about
6 somewhere
bugs in
down
Things
the road.
almost made the segue.
Almost, it was close.
Bugs and
Almost.
things.
But
I'm talking about. I'm going to go to Smash Brothers after this, but
tantalized.
we'll wait.
I will get an iPhone 6, but I don't think of it for gaming at all. Like, I've never made that smartphone decision based on whether or not I can run a certain game or anything like that.
I mean, casual is the main market now, right? I mean, that's why you got Candy Crush destroying things
Yeah,
and
which,
stealing their names.
you know, when you look at the Minecraft acquisition by Microsoft, that number of $2.5 billion for a company that is essentially one title, that was the same thing we were talking about when King went through the IPO when they were Candy Crush, and that was significantly more money.
Interestingly enough, I didn't know this, but apparently before he did Minecraft, Notch worked for King.
Really?
Yeah, back in 2009.
Interesting, because I always heard,
That was just an anecdote I read somewhere, so could be wrong. It's the internet, but I actually think it's quite interesting that like he went on to do his thing, which has in my opinion completely eclipsed even Candy Crush. But they also like huge upwards trajectory. It's weird what 5 years can do.
Yeah, the market cap for King today, they're down from their IPO. They were at about 20 when they started. Their stock price is now 13.74. They're in US dollars, their market cap is 4.39 billion. So
All right.
there you go.
Doing fine for themselves.
Doing okay with the Candy Crushing.
Maybe Microsoft will buy them out next.
Probably that lucrative trademark
They
they
can
have.
afford a lot of those now.
Yeah. What if King had bought Mojang? Not that they probably would have sold. That would have been interesting.
That would have been.
That would have been awful.
That would have been icky.
Would you like to buy a
that,
carrot?
See, I would. That's the reaction. That's like people reacting to Facebook buying Oculus. That's how I'd feel if King bought something.
Yeah, just be like, oh well, that's too bad.
Well,
Which is-
yep.
Has
So
the
where'll
Facebook acquisition of Oculus
Yes.
affected it in any way?
No.
wow,
mean, it's-
they
Well,
lost Minecraft
they-
until someone made a mod that
Too soon.
fixed that.
Right. And they just came up with another
Yeah, and
Minecraft.
now there's just right around. No, it's still Minecraft. It's just modded to work with Oculus.
Yeah, and that's the other concern. That the other thing that makes me optimistic about the Microsoft acquisition of Minecraft is that if you're doing a cost analysis, a business analysis of buying Minecraft or just kind of making another Minecraft. I mean, it's like for $2.5 billion, do you think you could develop a Minecraft? You probably could, but what you can't get is the built-in, baked-in community and goodwill that has. And so I think what Microsoft is going to end up doing with Minecraft is not damage that. I think I really do think I have nothing but good faith
Well,
and optimism.
if they damage it, they're basically just burning their own money.
They're burning their own money in that case. Yeah, I think so. Unless
Did they
there's
already
something-
make their money on the stock rise?
They did. Well, there's another
So now
another weird
they're-
thing about their
they're
accounting
evens
too.
already.
They already and Microsoft already considers their
They can
accounting
lose it just as easily now.
even for this year because there's apparently a really weird thing that goes on in finance. It's like magical numbers, and they're saying that it's already paid for itself. They don't mean that it's already made $2.5 billion like that Minecraft itself has, because of course it hasn't. They're just saying that they think that this year it'll pay for itself because the acquisition will make more money than the $2.5 billion would have made if it was just sitting in the bank earning interest.
Yeah, you're speaking in tongues.
Yeah,
So
Microsoft is one of those companies.
I do not get financed at all.
No, Microsoft.
Money is money or
money
it's not
invested
money.
is worth more than money not invested. Yeah.
Microsoft has a lot of cash. Not many companies are in that position. Microsoft, Apple, companies like that, they have a lot of cash. And so it's just, in a way, a diversification of their position. Same thing with Facebook when they bought WhatsApp for $17 billion. And I was like, what the hell? United Airlines sold for $4 billion, and you're buying WhatsApp, a text messaging app, for $17 billion? It's like, because it's all stock. You know what I mean? And at this point, and it's public stock, but it's a way Facebook is just like maintains their position. Like, it's a defensive maneuver and a really smart one. Mm-hmm. Even though somebody made $17 billion off of it. Good for them.
Well, I mean, since we're on the Facebook thing, should we talk about real quick the new Oculus?
The new Oculus game?
This is from Forbes. Fun number. Apple has twice as much cash as the U.S. government. So that's really interesting.
I'm sad now.
They made
and Microsoft has more cash than the U.S. government as well.
They would have made over $1 billion just in the first 24 hours after announcing iPhone 6 off of orders.
They sold 4 million iPhone 6s.
And even
in the first day.
And doing conservative math, saying that everyone bought on contract the base iPhone 6 model at $199. That's $796 million. Uh-huh. And nobody did that. The iPhone 6 Pluses are completely ordered out until like November. So people went for the
Megan's really mad that her ship date slipped. Yeah, she's yelling in the background.
She canceled her order and went to another place. It was like, I can get it day one. And now they're telling her that one's slipped too.
Oh,
Maggie.
You got burned. First day?
You are?
Still
okay.
First day.
She bitched out and got a 6. She didn't get a 6 Plus.
Right.
So, 6 Plus could be dangerous for someone to make size. It's a pretty serious piece of technology. Like, she'd have to strap it to her back. But we're talking about that, ship dates and things like that. You actually were talking to me earlier, and I said, hey, why don't you wait and talk about it in the patch? You found out the Destiny sales numbers versus the ship numbers.
Yes. So this is one of the best illustrations of why ship numbers are bullshit.
Okay.
So they shipped $500 million of Destiny day one. Super impressive, right? Everyone is hella impressed.
Best shipped IP, new IP of all time.
Best IP launch, new IP launch of all time, because they shipped $500 million.
Best shipped.
What
a dubious honor.
They also
We're just throwing them out on street corners. Yeah.
Well, it was either today or maybe yesterday afternoon they announced their sales numbers for the first week. They've sold $326 million. Still, by the way, really impressive. But the fact that they previously announced that they shipped $500 million makes it 326, 362, 300 and a couple lots of million in the first 5 days. That's really impressive. But the fact that they said 500 million makes it look like a little bitch number.
$362 million.
There we go, 62.
Day one, essentially, is what they're saying.
No, in the first 5 days. The first 5 days.
I'll look it up.
Let's be honest. That's a good number. That's
a very, very good number.
They're not crying into their pillows at night because of
Destiny sales
is
total.
Anything but a failure.
Yeah.
This is from Polygon.
Wow,
$325 million in the first 5 days. Sorry. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So that's a huge number.
Guys. It's a huge number. If a movie did $325 million in its opening weekend, that we wouldn't even know the name of the movie. We just call it the movie that everybody saw. Because $325 million.
Oh, did you go to the movie this weekend? Of course I went to the movie.
I had to. It was required by law.
No, huge success. And if they had just gone on that instead of trying to be like, oh, we shipped 500 million, then it would look as impressive as it really is.
But I think it's okay to say it shipped 500 million because it shows a commitment on the part of retailers. The game is available to be bought.
They wanted people to think that it had sold that many.
Sure, it's marketing.
Really? Do you think that was their motivation? Because how does that benefit them really?
Because Activision wants to look like the big dog.
Well, they do, and there's.
Granted, here's the thing: is they still would have been. Uh-huh. They didn't need to do that. That was an unnecessary brag.
Look, you're marketing to gamers, and you need to speak the language of winning and losing.
They would have still won.
That's what gamers speak. That's what we speak all day long in that.
You got to die by that. Right out and drop the big dog.
We also like legitimate wins, though, right?
Right on the table, Ryan. Yeah, I'm trying to find units, because obviously there was a lot of different SKUs for Destiny going all the way up to the Ghost Edition, the one that came with the little model Ghost. So I'm trying to figure out how many units there are, but it's an impressive amount. And my opinion of Destiny is, I think it is an MMO, and I think people should call it an MMO. There's health bars in an FPS. How many FPSs have a health bar?
Well, Borderlands.
Of the enemy.
It's not very massive.
Borderlands is an MMO.
MMO.
Borderlands is not an MMO.
We had this argument too many times. Borderlands is an MMO that you just play as one player.
Right. That makes it not an MMO. That makes it at best an MO.
MMO has come to mean something else.
Can we just call it MO?
That's what I just said.
It's not massive.
It's a
Neither one of them are
multiplayer
massive.
online
Yeah.
game.
You want to settle another debate?
Yeah,
Is
what's that?
Destiny an open world game?
Is it an open world game?
Yes. Just gut level. Is it open world?
I want to say no, but rationally I keep thinking yes. It's like there are segments of it that are open world, but it's disjointed, like it's broken.
See?
No. Just, you
I
mean
said
it's segmented?
Here's the thing.
I said it's an open level world.
What
You
MMO
cannot-
is not segmented?
Here's why I would say it's not. Okay, in an MMO or in say GTA,
Stop it! I see you over there. I see you in the corner of my eyes. Like,
your patrol,
down.
like the patrol would be your navigation. Like you would go into what is in Destiny as a patrol, which is basically the open world part of it.
Right.
You would be able to go to an area and start the mission.
Right.
Instead of going to orbit and then having to say, I want to run that.
Yeah, no. I had to get on the stupid blimp in Warcraft to go to certain areas and things like that.
Yeah, but you can still walk there. You could just walk up to it and say, here
That's
I am.
just loading screen bullshit to me.
No, it's
That's
not. It's that you can't walk from point A to point B. You have to go into a menu and select that.
I gotta hop on the back of a flying bird.
It's
and
still got
get
a
in
level
there.
select, which is kind of
So while it has
silly for the. I mean, granted, GTA 5, there is a level select to that where you could say, oh, give me this mission. After you've finished it, that's pretty much the only way to go back and do that older mission sets.
But you can walk to that
you
location.
could, while your normal playthrough, you could have just, without ever having to interact with a menu, progress the story by just walking around. Which that, I think, is the true test to me.
Really?
To me, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I still think it's an open level design. I'd say it's like multiple open worlds, but like overall, I wouldn't say it's open world because you shouldn't have to go into a menu and select where you want to go. You should be able to just go to there. If you went and you hopped in your little spaceship and you aimed it upwards and zoomed at the moon, then it would be. But it's not.
And you flew it physically to the moon yourself and did it?
Yes.
I totally think it's open world. And it's just like got fast travel, essentially baked in.
Nope, because you also can't skip straight from Earth to Venus. You have to go back to orbit. You have,
Maybe.
to,
That I
you
don't
have
mind.
to go through
That
the
I don't
system.
mind. If you're changing actual physical planets, then that's fine. But just the part that I can't start a mission without leaving and going to a level select. It's a pretty level select, but it's a level select.
Also, why is the tower separate from Earth? The tower's on Earth.
Really? Yeah, it's absolutely on
They
Earth.
try to make it seem like a separate place. They need a button that just goes to the
But
tower.
you have to go
That
out
would
to
be nice.
orbit and then down.
If I would
You
prefer
have to
I would prefer in
hit
the
like
game
8 buttons to get there.
Orbit's very cool for the party system, and on the Xbox, from what I've heard, the PS4 party system is vastly superior
better.
to the Xbox One party system. It's been
The Xbox One's been
frustrating.
pretty shit.
It's been frustrating.
It's been hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
party up.
took us like a half hour to discover like the notifications in the top left corner of the home screen that you can't get your party invite. Like if you miss the party invite, Bernie would be like, "It's coming in." We'd be like, "All right."
You had to be like Johnny
right
on
there,
the spot.
waiting for it.
No, we haven't had
because
that
we couldn't
problem.
we
Like,
couldn't
it'll just-
find it.
Well, the only problem we're having, it'll pop and stay for us, or at least the one in the top corner, but Jeff can't receive them.
Just doesn't get them.
Yeah, he's just now completely blocked. Like, he cannot get party or game invites
He
at
has
all.
bad luck with that kind of stuff. Like he also has the 360 that doesn't get a network connection the first time it turns on.
I think that's fixed.
Is it?
No, we're finally fixed.
That was only 4 years
What?
he had that problem.
Well,
It's
hold
a
on,
very specific problem.
Let me read this and we'll talk about it. Cooking and eating should be enjoyable. It's very enjoyable for me, I gotta say. The eating more than the cooking. But if you're busy or health conscious or just don't know your way around a kitchen, it can be stressful. Ordering out is expensive and gets unhealthy fast. Cooking's a pain too. Finding and coming up with recipes, shopping for ingredients, dealing with leftover produce that just goes to waste. Forget it. You need Blue Apron to take the stress out of cooking. Here's how it works. For $9.99 per meal, they'll send you the right ingredients in the exact right proportions with simple recipe instructions right to your door. Meals are 500 to 700 calories per serving, way too low for how delicious they are. Blue Apron includes step-by-step instructions with pictures. It's idiot-proof. They work around your schedule and
But
your
is
dietary.
it Gavin-proof?
Not yet tested. What, is he here?
Boo
Got
for
a
Meg.
boo for
I've been
Meg.
safe. They work around your schedule and your dietary preferences. Cooking takes about half an hour and shipping is always free. You'll make meals like beef patty melt and cod with Parmesan crusted squash.
I love God.
That sounds really good.
But do you love squash?
And more
I'm on board.
delicious meals. You'll cook incredible meals and be blown away by the quality and freshness. Blue Apron, fast, fresh, and affordable. I can't do it. I can't talk for 2 whole ads. In the stress of cooking right now, go to blueapron.com/thepatch, the space patch. That doesn't make sense. All right. Blueapron.com/ let's just say one word, the patch. And get your first 2 meals free. That's right. 2 meals free for
What,
just
one
for
word?
going to blueapron.com/thepatch.
One word.
One word, I
Altogether.
guess. And
I'm going to it.
Don't worry, Ryan.
It's
It happens
quotation
to
marks
all of us.
and then capital the space patch in quotation.
Believe it or not, I put in the space and it worked, and it got me.
Put
to
in the
our-
space.
I got to our offer code.
That's how you do it.
It seems to me like it worked. Audio paid podcast the patch.
Yep,
There you go.
They've got you covered, Ryan.
The space is very important.
That's really cool, man. It seems like the way that food is being delivered is just being revolutionized. Like there's services
I
in
can't
Austin.
wait till there's just a tube that arrives at my house.
What's wrong with you?
And I just put my mouth under it and it goes, oh. That's Blue Apron version 2.
food too.
Ryan always wanted to be a hamster.
I did. I'm ready to go. Little feeding tube.
I got a funny idea. I'm gonna run by you a little bit later. It's along the lines of your food too.
Oh no.
I'm
So
terrified.
So you did a piece today that you released. Should we wrap up on Destiny real quick?
yeah,
Yeah.
let's,
Oh, there's one
Is
more
there
thing I
something
gotta
more
say.
to wrap up? Okay,
Yes,
I guess there
That
is.
annoys the crap out of me.
Go ahead.
Annoys the crap out of me.
is it Dinklebot?
No, I mean we're over that.
That
already.
ship sailed.
All right, so again, another way you can farm for more stuff, weapons, exotics. That's the main thing you're really looking for is playing Crucible. The Crucible system is completely not based on your skill level, which in a way is good, but is also
Whoa! Wow, that was very frightening.
is also bad because it's a cow. Yes,
It's a Minecraft
Gavin missed. I got protected by the iPad. So you'll go into the Crucible, do amazing. You'll be first place. You'll get nothing. The guy at the bottom, and I've seen this happen. The guy at the bottom got a legendary and an exotic weapon.
And the exotic is orange?
Exotic is orange.
the highest
yeah.
one.
Okay.
It's like will
Lots of light.
have a really good solid game, and a guy that's 4-17 gets an exotic weapon.
I will say that the reward
I
system.
will say that sounds great.
That's
Because I
horrible.
will
This has
never
become
be at the top. I will always be at the bottom. I will take my random
And
exotics
it doesn't
so I can
work
get
for
them.
me.
An
When I suck, I don't get anything.
This is it. It's become a total exercise in envy of like everybody.
Yes.
Like, oh, you're kidding me! People getting really upset.
And especially, it's even worse when everyone on the team, it's because it's all random, really, is what it boils down to, at least as far as I can tell. You'll play a game where everyone in the match gets 2 blue items and you get nothing.
It's the equivalent of like the end of the match. The guy goes, "All right, everyone reach in. All right, grab a thing. All right, you gotta suck."
And then
You got a suck or a sock?
suck.
Okay. I was like they need to get a general category of gift called the suck.
only if in Destiny it would be one person gets $1 million and then the bag just punches the other one in the nuts. That's what it's like.
And this is, would you like to play again? Listen, but it comes down to it. It's everything that people are saying about Destiny. It reaffirms one thing that I've always believed, and I'm seeing it in practice now, which is great, solid gameplay forgives so many sins. Because all the things that people say, like it's repetitive, they're not necessarily in love with the story. It feels like a prologue
What
or a
story?
first chapter of something. All those things to me are forgivable because I enjoy those repetitive moments while I'm in those moments. You know what I mean? If I step back and look at it, I can acknowledge the fact that some of that gameplay and some of those missions feel repetitive, and I am going to the same spaces, yet I still keep playing the game. I'm still going back to it.
Yeah.
It's not stopping me. I am enjoying that game.
And a lot of that would also be forgiven if they just called it the MMO. People don't expect a full story out of an MMO. Whereas if you don't call it an MMO, then I would expect a story where they're failing the classic trilogy formula. The first book or a first movie or whatever needs to be self-contained, needs to have a story that can wrap itself up. The second
Right.
one doesn't, but they're taking that second book formula and putting it right in the first one. It's not
They're
complete.
making the beginning open-ended. It's world building. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's what we're seeing is a ton of world building in the first one, and we're all just supposed to be like really engaged with that.
I wish
world
there was
building.
a ton, but there isn't. It's just not there. They've provided no content.
Yeah,
At
but
least
there's a crazy awoken queen that seems like she's about to throw you into the
I
Thunderdome.
guess.
So
You don't
that's
feel like
cool.
you know the history of the Vex and the Cabal and all that?
I feel like they've not bothered to tell me any of it.
saturated in that? Oh, I feel like that's the thing they've been like really
Where?
communicating. Like
Who?
even in the cutscenes when you're warping to the planets
Uh-huh.
or going on the missions, you get a lot of information in that. Like,
Dinkle will throw off a couple like offhand like,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, we're going to go fight these guys. Yeah, they look like those things from the Fifth Element, but they're really kind of bad. So.
he does feel like Dinklage is the main voice actor in it because he's always with you, but there are a ton of other voice actors along the way. Like when you're going into those missions, you do get lots of story that comes in. I say story.
Yeah.
You get lots of world building.
The problem is we're in a post the Knights of the Old Republic world.
Go
where
ahead.
An MMO
Yeah.
can tell a story. Mm-hmm. And they certainly did in that one.
an MMO that has a conclusion.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing that we accept, right? That's not typical that when I played World of Warcraft, I didn't think, God, I gotta get to the end of this story.
Right.
What story? There were little arcs when I was in different areas.
There was a world. There was lots of world building.
which you came into because you knew about Warcraft, you know what I mean? But even like some of the big stuff with like the big bosses, essentially, I wasn't paying too close attention to that stuff. But anyway, it's like, I agree with Ashley. It's, the great Winston Churchill said, we have not yet reached the beginning of the end, but I think we have reached the end of the beginning. And that's what Destiny feels like. It feels like the end of the beginning.
I will throw out a caveat here that my frustrations with it are probably much more pronounced than the average player, just because, as you kind of said, we were sort of trying to push ourselves to get to a point to shoot a video while it was in sort of a timely fashion. So I haven't gotten really to play the game for fun. I've had to play it deliberately to get to a certain objective. And the only way to get to that objective is to just grind. So if I was just sitting back and like just playing the game and doing whatever I felt like, it would be a very different experience, I think.
So if we want to take this this Destiny cast to a new planet, why don't we talk about Smash Brothers? It came out in Japan.
Really? You don't want to talk about booby squeezing? Because that's
Oh no,
that's
we
a
can talk
thing.
about that too.
Oculus booby squeezing.
I thought we might end on a high note.
Okay, let's go to the other thing.
So Smash Brothers came out in Japan. 2 days, sold 1 million units. Doesn't sound like a lot when we're talking about, Destiny selling $326 million worth in 5 days. But for Japan, that's huge. That's amazing. More amazing is that all the people that were going online and playing competitively, not anyone, but a lot of people playing Peach got banned on accident. One of Peach's abilities is she pulls out a turnip and she can throw it or use it. I'm not 100% clear on that, but there's a chance that it can draw an item instead of a turnip. But in these modes, items are banned. And so, so if she off chance drew an item instead, they were like, "Oh, you cheated," and banned a bunch of people.
Really?
Whole bunch of people. It's opening weekend. I mean, Nintendo apologized and they said they're fixing it. So that's all good. But it's still really funny that this, one of the things that Nintendo does so well is, I think their games get a lot more playtesting than a lot of games because they normally come out so polished. I mean, look at Mario Kart.
Yeah.
I can't think of any single thing wrong with that.
We played that game a year in advance.
But this
at
was a
E3.
big thing to miss.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Banning a bunch of people? Yeah, that's huge.
So their own ban is, but it sold really, really well, and everyone seems to love it aside from that little online problem.
Well, I'm
And it
glad to hear
comes
that
out-
because it's a very beloved franchise.
Yeah, and it comes out here on the 3rd. So
I-
that's very exciting. It's so close.
Looking forward to
For
never
the
playing
3DS.
it.
For the 3DS.
I have never enjoyed, and I know I'm in the extraordinary minority, I have never enjoyed playing Smash Brothers even one time.
I enjoy it. I'm never good at it. But this is going to be great for Teddy, the Bernie's youngest. He loves Smash Brothers.
He's a maniac for it. Loves
He
it.
will. He was
Played on the Wii
playing.
U.
He was playing. Was it Smash Brothers Brawl?
Yeah.
And he played it for weeks and weeks and weeks by himself. He was building levels. He was just going through unlocking everything.
Yep.
He had a great time with it. So he's gonna really like that.
So you're saying there's no escaping it for you, really?
Oh, I played a ton of it this last go round, and I have given
he really had no
Smash
choice.
Brothers. I have given it a shot in every iteration, and whatever it is that everyone it grabs hold of them, it just doesn't have that effect on me.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it, but I'm just bad at fighting games in general. My fingers, they just tend to work independently of my brain, and when
That's a bad thing.
They'll panic and they'll just start pushing buttons, and I have no idea what's going on.
That's a very legitimate strategy in a lot of those fighting games.
It is.
It can work.
Smack.
It is, but then I'm like, oh, I want to do that thing again. We'll never find it again.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Or it's like even if I know exactly what I need to do to pull off a specific move, my fingers will panic and just start pushing other buttons. I don't know. It's a problem.
People ask me, do you like other fighting games? Yes, I like Street Fighter series and I like Dead or Alive.
I like Soul Calibur.
Particularly Dead or Alive 2 and Street Fighter 2.
I don't really see those as equivalent games, honestly. The Smash Brothers is a very different type of game than just your
Smash
average
Brothers-
two-player fighter.
But Smash Brothers does do really well with all those other games in the fighting game scene.
It does, yeah. I wouldn't put them in the same category necessarily. Well, if you're talking about a pure two people fighting kind of game, well, even not necessarily two, because Smash Brothers is already more than that.
And there's been lots of games that were inspired by, I think Tiny Arms was a game that was on the Xbox. Gave that a shot. Didn't like that either. Those 4-person side view brawlers. I just They don't do it for me. And I feel comfortable saying that. Normally I don't say anything negative about games I don't like, but I just know that this is such a beloved franchise. I'm not going to change anybody's opinion. And,
Well, not only that, but
they know that I'm the idiot in this scenario.
It's not them, it's you.
It is, yeah. I totally recognize it.
Anyway, so that high note we were going to end on.
Sorry.
So exciting.
Small arms. That's what it's called. Small arms.
Small arms.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yes.
We have something new you can use your Oculus Rift for.
Yeah. I saw you mentioned that in the pre-roll. So it looks like it requires a peripheral, though.
Yeah,
it's a booby squeezing simulator.
It is a booby
for
squeezing
Oculus
simulator.
Rift, like this guy, like he hooked his mouse up into it. This whole big thing. Patrick, did Joey end up sending you the video of that? Okay, cool. It's a short video, but it shows. It's weird. So
look at all the IR dots flickering all over the front of the thing.
Oh yeah. So look, here's the thing.
So she just covers up whenever you.
So for those listening to the audio version, it's this guy. He basically made a boob squeezing simulator that works with Oculus Rift.
You put on your Oculus and then
But it all. I mean, that's very interesting and everything. But here's where it takes a really creepy turn.
Oh, there's more?
When you grab her boobs, she actually, like in the game, she actually looks uncomfortable. This is a game about basically
it's really horrible.
It's like Creeper
sexually
the game.
assaulting this
Shouldn't
girl.
the simulator
It's weird.
simulate a real life experience? Like, are you walking up to fully clothed people and standing in front of them and just squeezing their boobs? I mean, is this like a normal activity?
Well,
I'm a grown man. It's like
Can like the
it's happened, but not like on the level of like flying airplanes. So it has to be simulated.
I think if to be accurate, the DVD drive should kick out and hit you in the crotch as soon as you grab her.
It's just it's very, very strange.
But it's also a kind of disturbing growing trend because was it for Project Morpheus or was this
the Sony
VR? One where there's it was either for Morpheus, it might have been another Oculus thing, where like you're in this teenage squirrel girl's bedroom and
that
like
was the Morpheus
you
one,
get near her and she's just like, and she tries to cover herself and step away.
All right, see, I think part of this is...
I don't have words for that. It's just there's something like,
There's a cultural
why are there
thing-
multiple things of this all of a sudden?
and this is an excuse, but there's a
Or are they
cultural
just
thing in
surfacing?
Japan where like the shy, innocent girl is very sought. So it may not be necessarily that they're trying to imply that this person is rejecting your advances. It may be that they're just trying to say that she's being shy and timid.
So no means yes.
No, I don't. I'm not even going to get into that whole mess.
And
but
listen,
I'm just saying
I mean,
that's
you
just
go
a thing in that culture.
You go the other direction with this conversation. It's like, the people who play the game where you mow down innocent bystanders in an airport are making fun of our fantasy booby simulated game.
true.
I mean, it's like
That's a
it's just
completely
contextual.
legitimate criticism as well.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's like the games that Americans play. It's like, how bizarre. It's like, let me go get the perfect headshot.
Yeah, it is one of
brutally
the
murder somebody.
major, criticisms of American culture is that violence totally okay. Anything sexual, not okay.
That is definitely an American thing. Definitely an American thing. Like, and you see it in other countries, like Australia in particular, where they have to make dumbed down versions of the game to cut down on the gore. Left 4 Dead 2 was a great example.
It's
of that.
fun to ride, though.
Well, but they also did have some stuff with, was it South Park, where it was they had to censor some of the sex stuff.
In Australia?
It was
Yeah,
the
I think it was.
dildo.
I think they were
Well, no,
talking about
they cut
anal
out
rape.
the dildo weapon.
This is a thing that we're.
You
This
guys are
is
just throwing, it's like we're playing Cards Against
There's
Humanity game.
there's a dildo launcher
dildo?
in Saints Row
Anal rape.
4
That was a Saints Row thing. Yes.
that they had to cut out, which I
then
think
the-
it launched dildos at you.
Yeah, and
It was like the penetrator or the violator or the impregnator
yes,
or something.
go ahead. And the South Park thing, I think, was aliens, like an anal probe thing.
Oh yeah, they probed the crap out of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The-
and it was
don't take that literally.
And I think it was-
sexualized violence,
Yes, there
which
we go.
was considered to be, outside the bounds of good taste in Australia.
That said, again, a lot of that's changing because they now have the R18 rating. But South Park is one that I think they had to censor it even with the 18 rating.
Yeah, it's different. All cultures are different. You know what I mean?
Well, so they just now so the Left 4 Dead finally got in because of a new rating, or is that?
Yeah, well, yes. So they had to censor it to get it down to an MA 15 plus rating, which for a very long time was the highest rating available in Australia. I understand.
Someone's saying, I loved Ashley J's reaction to Burnie admitting that she went, wait, excuse me? That's a huge red flag in her head. There's going to be a conversation.
Wait, what? What did I say?
My conversation that it has happened in life where someone stood in front of somebody else and grabbed their boobs while they were fully clothed. That has happened.
I'm just picturing it. It's a weird, it's.
You're picturing it based on what you just saw there. I'm talking about a total consensual thing between regular adults.
Oh no, yeah, I was picturing like an improv anywhere or everywhere. And now so we're Australian ratings.
Right.
For a long time, the highest rating they had was an MA 15+, and so a lot of games had to be brought down to that level because it was basically the equivalent of a T rating in the US, so they didn't have an M rating. So if you couldn't make that rating, you had to change it.
So can they
Some
now
games
get,
just chose not to release there because I think Australia and New Zealand ends up being like 5% of the global market share, and some companies just go,
I think actually didn't South Park deal with it a really fun way where they just had like a black screen pop up that's like, you could be seeing content here.
Yeah, they put like explanations in like, we were going to show this, but had to change it.
It does get to a really interesting realm, though, of just fantasy in general and the digital culture, which is like, if two consensual adults found each other and wanted to do something like this and engage in some kind of play like that, that would be acceptable to a lot of people because it's two adults consenting to something. But if one adult is doing it with a digital construct that doesn't exist, then it's somehow negative, and it's a negative influence on the person playing the game and will have a negative impact on their life.
Well, we get into a kind of a weird territory where we like to argue that playing violent games doesn't necessarily make people more violent.
Right.
And if we're going to follow that same logic through, then theoretically we should also follow the logic that, games that are sort of sexually weird or that go down that track don't make people sexual deviants.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that if we're going to commit to like one stance, that we have to, say that goes for everything.
Ultimately, I think games suffer from a problem of interactivity where the person is actively engaging in it. If you watched a video, we just watched a video where somebody was, simulating grabbing somebody's boobs, and watching it, or watching a pornographic video doesn't seem that bad, but engaging in the activity yourself in an interactive nature does somehow change the context of it. But it's like, these are new things that we're all kind of dealing with on the fly. So interesting.
Turned that up into a little bit of a downer, but that's all right. Roll right on off that.
I'm going to go get my Oculus out.
Well, thank you very much for joining us on The Patch today. Come back Mondays for the regular RT podcast, and then Screenplay is Friday? Tuesdays.
Screenplay is on Tuesday. So it'll Screenplay will be up on roosterteeth.com and YouTube on the Nose channel today.
Okay.
And it'll air again for sponsors next Tuesday.
And hey, congratulations to Marcus, and everybody at Mojang. You guys have contributed to the game that's been huge entertainment for millions of people all around the world. So congratulations to you guys.
Enjoy rolling around in your giant piles of money.
Had to make it a downer again.